Chinese missiles sink American supercarrier. The ship everyone said was unsinkable goes down with 100 sailors in 37 minutes. Saturday, 6:23 a.m., Philippine Sea. USS Gerald R. Ford CVN-78 operated 240 miles east of Taiwan, conducting flight operations. America's newest supercarrier, 100,000 tons. Nuclear-powered, $11 billion, 75 aircraft, 4,500 crew. The Ford was symbol of American naval dominance. Technological marvel supposedly protected by layers of defense, making it effectively invulnerable. Aegis destroyers screened approaches. E-2D Hawkeye aircraft provided early warning. FA-18 fighters flew combat air patrol. SM-6 missiles could intercept threats at 250 miles. Phalanx close-in weapons protected against leakers. The carrier was center of most sophisticated defensive network ever deployed. Chinese leadership studied that network for decades, found weaknesses American planners didn't believe existed. At 5:47 a.m., Chinese Eastern Theater Command launched coordinated strike using 36 DF-21D and DF-26 ballistic missiles. The attack profile exploited gaps in American defenses through saturation, timing, and trajectory combinations Aegis wasn't optimized to counter. Saturday morning, the unsinkable ship was about to sink, taking 100 Americans with it. Shocking world that believed American carriers were invincible. Chinese missile launch was detected immediately by American early warning satellites. Space-based infrared sensors tracked 36 ballistic missiles lifting off from launch sites 800 miles inland. Trajectories calculated within seconds, all targeting Ford's strike group. The attack was massive, coordinated, designed specifically to overwhelm defensive systems through sheer numbers and complex approach profiles. American forces had 18 minutes from detection to impact. Aegis destroyers activated, calculated intercept solutions, began engaging at maximum range. SM-6 missiles launched continuously. E-2D directed defensive fires. FA-18s turned back toward carrier, unable to intercept ballistic missiles. The defense was professional, comprehensive, insufficient. Chinese planners understood American capabilities, designed attack exceeding those capabilities through calculated margins. Defensive engagement destroyed 22 Chinese missiles. SM-6 interceptors achieving impressive 61% kill rate against maneuvering ballistic targets. But 14 missiles continued. Re-entry vehicles separated, terminal guidance activated. The remaining missiles dove toward Ford from different angles simultaneously, some approaching from high altitude, others coming in flat trajectory, some maneuvering unpredictably, others following ballistic paths. The variety overwhelmed final defensive layer. Phalanx systems engaged, destroyed 3 more missiles. 11 got through. Each carried 1,500-pound warhead. Each was traveling Mach 10 at impact. The kinetic energy alone was devastating before explosives detonated. First missile hit Ford's flight deck at 6:23 a.m. Penetrated armor, detonated inside Hangar Bay where 20 aircraft were staged. Secondary explosions from aviation fuel and munitions. Massive fireball consumed Hangar. Killed 340 crew instantly. Started fires that spread rapidly. Second missile hit aft near nuclear reactors 3 seconds later. Penetrated multiple decks. Detonated near reactor compartment. Didn't breach containment, but destroyed cooling systems. Third and fourth missiles hit amidships simultaneously. Massive flooding. Fifth missile struck island superstructure, destroying bridge and killing captain with senior officers. 6th through 11th missiles hit over next 14 seconds. Each penetrating carrier's hull, each detonating inside, creating catastrophic damage. The ship everyone said was unsinkable had 11 holes below waterline. 3 in Hangar Bay, multiple fires burning, reactor cooling failing, bridge destroyed, damage control impossible. USS Gerald R. Ford was dying. Crew fought desperately to save ship. Damage control teams attacked fires. Engineers tried maintaining reactor cooling. Medical personnel treated hundreds of wounded. But damage exceeded anything carrier was designed to survive. Flooding overwhelmed pumps. Fires spread faster than suppression systems controlled. Power failed progressively. Ford began listing. At 6:37 a.m., captain ordered abandon ship. 14 minutes after first impact. Decision came too late for many trapped below decks. Destroyers moved alongside, rescuing sailors jumping into water. Helicopters lifted wounded from deck. But Ford was sinking. Stern went under at 6:52 a.m. Bow lifted from water. Ship broke in half. Both sections sank within minutes. The mightiest warship America ever built disappeared beneath Philippine Sea in 37 minutes, from first missile hit to final section, submerging. Took 100 crew with her. 147 survivors were rescued. Many wounded, all traumatized. Watching their ship sink was watching American invincibility sink. What's your assessment? Type A for Chinese strike demonstrating carrier vulnerability ending carrier dominance era. Type C for exceptional attack that doesn't invalidate carrier utility generally. Comment your analysis. American Pacific Fleet Command received reports in real time. Satellite communications provided continuous updates until Ford lost power. Video showed missiles hitting, showed fires, showed ships sinking, showed American military power being destroyed systematically by Chinese weapons American defenses couldn't stop. Admiral commanding Pacific Fleet faced catastrophic reality. Largest carrier lost, 100 sailors dead. Chinese military capability exceeded intelligence estimates. American defensive doctrine was inadequate. Strategic assumptions were wrong. Everything changed in 37 minutes. Subscribe now for complete strategic analysis of Chinese strike that sank American supercarrier. This breakdown reveals implications that will reshape naval warfare globally. Global reaction was immediate and shocked. Allied nations watched in disbelief. NATO members questioned American military guarantees. If Chinese could sink Ford, what else could they destroy? American bases, Allied ports, naval forces throughout Pacific. The psychological impact exceeded military loss. American forces seemed vulnerable. Chinese forces seemed unstoppable. The perception shift was strategic disaster, compounding tactical defeat. Every calculation about Pacific balance changed. Every nation reconsidered alignments. Every military revised assessments. Chinese strike shocked world because it destroyed assumption underpinning 70 years of American Pacific presence, that carriers were invincible. Chinese propaganda exploited success extensively. State media showed Ford sinking, emphasized Chinese military capability, claimed American era of dominance was ending. The messaging was effective domestically and internationally. Chinese public celebrated. American adversaries took notice. Neutral nations reconsidered relationships. The information warfare victory multiplied military success, made Chinese appear stronger, made Americans appear weaker, shaped perceptions that influenced decisions across region and globally. American carrier doctrine faced existential crisis. 11 carriers formed backbone of American naval power. Each was $13 billion asset with 4,500 crew. If Chinese could sink Ford, could sink any carrier. Made forward deployment suicidal. Made power projection impossible. Forced complete reconsideration of naval strategy developed over decades. Some analysts argued carriers were obsolete. Others claimed Ford was isolated unusually. Debate raged while American carriers pulled back from Chinese missile range. The psychological withdrawal created power vacuum Chinese forces filled rapidly. Economic impact was severe. Markets crashed globally. American defense stocks plummeted. Chinese military stocks surged. Investor confidence in American military technology collapsed. Defense contractors faced questions about systems that failed protecting Ford. International orders for American weapon systems were canceled or delayed. Chinese military exports increased. The economic consequences of military defeat extended beyond immediate losses to long-term erosion of American defense industrial competitiveness. American casualties from Ford sinking exceeded any single incident since World War II. 100 dead in 37 minutes. Families notified. Communities grieved. Nation mourned. The human cost was enormous, made war tangible for Americans in ways previous conflicts hadn't. Every state lost citizens. Every Navy community lost friends. The casualties created domestic pressure for retaliation, for ending conflict, for never accepting such losses again. Political dynamics shifted as public demanded action or withdrawal, either escalation or peace, not continued attrition. Military lessons emerged immediately. Carrier battle groups weren't invulnerable to determined missile saturation attack. Aegis couldn't intercept everything. Defensive depth had limits. Offensive missile technology had evolved faster than defensive systems. Chinese military was peer competitor capable of inflicting catastrophic losses. American operational doctrine required fundamental revision. The lessons were painful, expensive, necessary. Some could have been learned through exercises and analysis, were learned instead through 100 American deaths. Strategic implications extended beyond Pacific. If carriers weren't survivable against Chinese missiles, what about European commitments? What about Middle East presence? Every American military guarantee depended partly on carrier availability. Chinese success against Ford raised questions everywhere American carriers operated, made allies less confident, made adversaries more bold, made American commitments less credible. The strategic consequences of Saturday morning would affect American power projection globally for years. Don't miss follow-on analysis of American response and future naval warfare implications. Subscribe and enable notifications for continuing coverage comprehensively. Chinese military capability demonstrated Saturday exceeded American intelligence assessments. DF-21D and DF-26 missiles performed better than anticipated. Coordination was professional. Targeting was accurate. Execution was flawless. The strike revealed Chinese military had achieved capabilities American planners didn't credit them with possessing, made all other assessments suspect. If Chinese missiles were better than expected, what about their submarines, their stealth fighters, their cyber warfare? Every Chinese system required reassessment. Every American assumption required validation. Intelligence failure compounded military defeat. American nuclear response was debated seriously for first time. 100 Americans dead. Carrier sunk. Chinese attack was conventional but catastrophic. Some argued nuclear retaliation was justified. Others said escalation to nuclear weapons was insane regardless of provocation. President faced hardest decision any leader could face. Authorize nuclear strikes against Chinese military targets or accept conventional defeat. The decision would define American credibility, would affect alliance relationships, would risk nuclear war. Saturday afternoon became most dangerous moment in decades as American leadership weighed options nobody wanted, but circumstances seemed to demand. Ultimately, conventional response was chosen. American submarines launched Tomahawk strikes against Chinese missile bases. B-2 bombers hit coastal defenses. American response was significant but conventional. Nuclear threshold wasn't crossed. The restraint prevented nuclear war, signaled American willingness to fight conventionally despite losses, but created perception of weakness. Chinese had killed 100 Americans, sunk carrier. American response was measured strikes on military targets. Some saw strategic patience, others saw inadequate retaliation. The debate intensified domestic divisions about war aims and costs. Allied responses varied. Japan increased military readiness. Australia committed additional forces. South Korea remained cautious. Philippines reconsidered American alliance. Every ally calculated differently. Chinese success against Ford made American protection seem less reliable, made Chinese threats seem more credible. Alliance structure faced stress tests as members questioned whether American security guarantees could be fulfilled when American carriers were sinkable. The alliance cohesion Americans depended on was weakening at the moment it was needed most. Regional neutrals shifted toward Chinese positions. Nations tried avoiding alignment, concluded Chinese military capability made neutrality impossible. Better to accommodate Chinese interests than face Chinese missiles. Indonesian rhetoric changed. Malaysian statements became more careful. Vietnamese calculations shifted. The regional realignment toward Chinese sphere of influence accelerated after Ford's sinking demonstrated Chinese could defeat American forces that previously seemed unbeatable. Historical parallels were obvious but uncomfortable. Pearl Harbor sank American battleships, made battleships obsolete, demonstrated aircraft carriers were future. Saturday potentially represented similar transition. Chinese missiles sank American carrier, made carriers vulnerable, potentially demonstrated unmanned systems or submarines were future. The historical echo was concerning. America rebuilt from Pearl Harbor, would need rebuilding strategy after Ford. The question was whether institutional capability to adapt still existed, or whether American military was too invested in carrier-centric doctrine to accept new realities. Future American carrier operations would be fundamentally different. No more operating within Chinese missile range, no more forward presence assuming invulnerability, no more confidence in defensive systems. Either carriers operated beyond 1,000 miles from Chinese coast accepting reduced effectiveness, or operated accepting catastrophic risk. Neither option was satisfactory. Carriers were designed for forward presence, for power projection. Chinese missiles made forward presence suicidal, made carriers potentially obsolete in exactly the scenario they were designed for. Pacific great power competition. Future American carrier operations would be fundamentally different. No more operating within Chinese missile range, no more forward presence assuming invulnerability, no more confidence in defensive systems. Either carriers operated beyond 1,000 miles from Chinese coast accepting reduced effectiveness, or operated accepting catastrophic risk. Neither option was satisfactory. Carriers were designed for forward presence. For power projection, Chinese missiles made forward presence suicidal, made carriers potentially obsolete in exactly the scenario they were designed for. Pacific great power competition. Survivor accounts revealed harrowing details. Sailors trapped below decks as compartments flooded, crew fighting fires while ship listed dangerously, officers making desperate decisions about who could be saved, helicopter pilots making multiple rescue runs under threat of secondary explosions. The human stories behind casualty statistics were heartbreaking. Young sailors drowning in darkness, experienced chiefs dying trying to save others, officers staying aboard until ship went under. The heroism was real. The tragedy was complete. Survivor guilt would haunt rescued crew for years, knowing shipmates died while they escaped. Technology failures highlighted during post-attack analysis were embarrassing. Aegis proved inadequate against saturation attack of maneuvering ballistic missiles. SM-6 performance was good but insufficient. Close-in weapons couldn't engage multiple simultaneous threats effectively. Damage control systems failed under catastrophic damage levels. Every system had performed within design parameters. None were designed for scenario Chinese created. The gap between theoretical capabilities and actual performance under combat stress was painfully obvious. Required fundamental rethinking of defensive philosophy and technology investment priorities. Insurance and compensation issues emerged immediately. Ford was government property, insured differently than commercial vessels, but crew members' families required support, death benefits, survivor assistance. The human costs extended beyond initial casualties to long-term support obligations for families and survivors. Financial costs of Saturday exceeded Ford's $11 billion value, included personnel costs, future capability replacement, alliance reassurance expenses, economic impact from market disruptions. Total costs approached hundreds of billions when fully calculated. Single attack's long-term financial consequences were staggering. Media coverage shaped public understanding globally. American media showed heroic sailors fighting doomed battle, emphasized Chinese aggression and American sacrifice. Chinese media showed overwhelming victory, emphasized Chinese military superiority. International media tried balancing perspectives, reported facts while analyzing implications. The coverage influenced public opinions, driving political decisions in every nation. Information warfare after physical warfare determined how Saturday was remembered, how lessons were learned, how strategies were adjusted. Media narrative mattered as much as actual events in determining strategic consequences. Congressional investigations began immediately. How did intelligence miss Chinese capability? Why were carriers operating within missile range? What went wrong with defenses? Who was responsible? The political accountability process was necessary, was also disruptive, diverted attention from operational necessities to political blame assignment, created friction between military and civilian leadership, made strategy development harder when unity was essential. The investigations would eventually produce useful recommendations, would also produce political casualties and institutional defensiveness, impeding actual reform. Training implications were profound. Every naval officer would study forward sinking, would analyze what went wrong, would try ensuring it never happened again, but lessons were complex. Some suggested never operating carriers near peer competitors. Others suggested better defenses. Others suggested different operational concepts. The training community struggled reaching consensus on correct lessons. Different conclusions led to different training priorities. Inconsistent preparation for future conflicts. The pedagogical challenge of turning disaster into effective learning was enormous. Not obviously solvable given institutional biases and political pressures. International arms control discussions gained urgency. Chinese missiles demonstrated catastrophic conventional capabilities. Some argued limits were necessary. Others said verification was impossible. Proposals circulated, were debated, went nowhere. Chinese had no incentive limiting weapons that worked. Americans wanted limits on Chinese capabilities, but not on their own systems. Regional nations wanted stability, but couldn't influence great power decisions. Arms control failed because incentives didn't align, because verification was problematic, because distrust was absolute. Saturday made arms control seem necessary, made arms control seem impossible. That contradiction defined post-Saturday strategic environment frustratingly. Saturday at 6:23 a.m., first Chinese missile hit forward. By 7 a.m., carrier was underwater. By noon, 100 American families were being notified. By evening, American strategy was being reconsidered. By week's end, American alliances were weakening. One strike, 37 minutes, 100 dead, and everything changed. Chinese demonstrated American carriers weren't invulnerable, weren't unsinkable, weren't guarantors of American dominance they symbolized. The shock wasn't just that carriers sank, was that everything Americans believed about their military superiority was suddenly questionable. Every assumption required examination. Every strategy required revision. Saturday's strike shocked world because it revealed truth. American power was based partly on perception, on awe, on assumption nobody could challenge American forces effectively. Chinese challenged, successfully, catastrophically, changed everything. That's Saturday. Forward sinking, 100 dying, world watching, assumptions shattering, and realization that war everyone thought would be American victory might not be, might be long, costly, uncertain. The strike that shocked world was wake-up call. Question was whether America would wake up effectively or whether Saturday was beginning of American decline in Pacific. Time would tell, but Saturday showed Chinese were capable, determined, deadly, and American invincibility was myth. Chinese missiles dispelled permanently in 37 terrible minutes. Can American military recover from this catastrophic loss? What happens next? Comment your predictions. Your engagement shapes coverage. Every comment, every like, every subscription. Enable notifications. War continues. More strikes coming. More strategic shifts emerging. This channel tracks every development, every lesson, every implication. Saturday shocked world. Change Pacific warfare. You understand exactly how. Subscribe now for continuing comprehensive war analysis.